My name is Baliakina Zhanna. I am a pupil of term from in Gymnasium 44. My teacher name Khomyakova Anna Sergeevna. My favorite book is the story of Dr. Dolittle. Hugh John Lofting. Lofting born in January 1886 in Maidenhead. He studied at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, Cambridge in 1904-1905 and completed his studies in civil engineering at the London Polytechnic in 1906-1907. His work took him to Africa, West Indies and Canada, but in 1912 he decided to become a writer and settled in New York City. He lived most of his life in the United States, by the ambience of all his books is English. Since Dr. Dolittle was originally created to entertain Lofting's children, in letters he sent from the front during World War I. It is not surprising that he was a firm opponent of war violence, and currently after serving in Flanders and France, Lofting was wounded and invalided out. Retelling. A story of Dr. Dolittle, written and illustrated by the British author Hugh Lofting, is the first of his Dr. Dolittle books, a series of children's novels about a man who learns to talk to animals and becomes a champion around the world. John Dolittle, MD, is a respected doctor living with his spinster sister Sarah in the small English village of Baliakina. He liked animals and kept many pets in his house and in the garden. There were a crow, a horse, chickens, pigeons, and others. The pets he loved best of all were the duck, the dog, the pig, the parrot Polynesia, and the owl. His sister Sarah was very angry with him and said that the animals only made the house dirty. Meanwhile, the doctor got more animals, but no people came to him for medicine. Soon he spent all the money he had and he became very poor. Heroes. Dr. John Dolittle is an English doctor who became an animal doctor after his Polynesia parrot taught him to speak animal language. He lives in the fictional town of Baliakina in western England with his many animal friends. He has very few human friends and spends most of his time treating animals, traveling the world with his animal and conducting research on new animals and new forms of animal language. Polynesia is Dr. Dolittle's first friend, the parrot. She speaks English and was the first person to teach Dr. Dolittle about animal language. Prince Bumpo is an African prince from the kingdom of Georgia who is sent by his father to study at Oxford University, and he becomes a friend of the doctor. Bumpo is recognizable by his green umbrella and his bare feet. He is not used to wearing shoes, he usually refuses them. Long Arrow is an American Indian son of Golden Arrow. He is the world's greatest naturalist, specializing in botany and traveling through the mountains of Peru and Spider Monkey Island. He has learned the language of eagles and can therefore communicate with Dr. Dolittle. Problem. What is the problem? The fact is that Dr. Dolittle gave his all to the sick and sacrificed his own interest for them. He made a huge contribution to the natural world. He gave part of himself, but also his own money. Although his wife died and he no longer had any family, he was not alone. He had animal friends whom he helped. All good deeds come back, but to do good things you have to sacrifice something. Conclusion. I recommend the book for reading. Both adults and children will enjoy this book. The events unfold in a very interesting way. After reading the book, you want to go back to a carefree childhood. In the future, I will read this book to my children. For animal lovers, this book will be very relevant. It also talks about animal diseases. Perhaps you will learn about rare animals. The book teaches love for animals and develops imagination.